Hi, this is Aisha and welcome to another video of Read a Day Club. Today I will be talking about The Passion According to G.H. by Clarice Lispector. But before I begin, I would like to recite one line from the book that I feel really encapsulates the essence of the story and as well as Lispector's writing. The hardest thing my vanity will have to face is the judgment of myself. I'll have every appearance of a failure, and only I will know if that was the failure I needed. Now, this is just one of the many intense and comforting lines from the book. The Passion According to G.H. is very similar to Mrs. Dalloway in one aspect, which is that both books are very sensitive, so they are very aware of the passing of time. Lispector writes as if she has mysteriously and masterfully weaved together a very long sentence, so any pause that is not either at the beginning or at the end of the book somehow feels too sudden. You somehow want to finish reading the book from in a single sitting, just to stop after a chapter and then begin the next day seems a little too abrupt, rude even. The narration is also structured really well. The last sentence of the first chapter is the first sentence of the chapter that comes right after, and so on and so forth. So what this does is it elevates and intensifies the effect the story has on the reader. The chapters act like threads, pieces of threads whose ends have been tied together into a single seamless figure, the figure in the shape of an anomaly. Now, I usually do not give away the plot of the book when I'm talking about them, but with The Passion According to G.H., it's really hard not to. But I'll also say that the book doesn't really have much to give away. The book doesn't have any spoilers. It has a sort of a metaphysical element to it that is very prescient and buoyant at the same time. I don't think anyone else besides Lispector herself could introduce this book to new readers. So whether you have already read this book or you plan on reading this book after watching this review, you will find a very small paragraph right before the story actually begins. So this is Lispector writing to possible readers, introducing her way of writing and the essence of the book to somebody who is not acquainted with her style of writing. So I'll be reading to you that passage right now. To possible readers, this book is like any other, but I would be happy if it were only read by people whose souls are already formed, those who know that the approach of whatever it may be happens gradually and painstakingly, even passing through the opposite of what it approaches. They who, and only they, will slowly come to understand that this book takes nothing from no one. To me, for example, the character G.H. gave bit by bit a difficult joy, but it is called joy. Now, the introduction raises many questions. The first of which is, what is this book about? In a single sentence, though it is hard for me to compress the entire story in a sense in a single sentence, but I will try. Consider it a story that revolves around a woman who, the wakeful dreaming of a woman who speaks the language of language itself, using certain using emotions and feelings that explain the banality of existence. Now, to read this story is just such a simple act of living. The protagonist is so aware that she's driven by and to her existence. As a reader, I could sense that as she narrated her story, in sentences like that, sentences in which life precedes love, bodily matter precedes the body. These thoughts have a dimension of their own, and that's what you actually feel when you are reading this book, that it is independent of the space-time dimension. Now, if you haven't read any South American novels that are more specifically female-centric, I highly recommend that you read The Passion According to G.H. It's incredibly rare when you come across writers whose writing echoes exactly what the writer feels. And I know this because after I finished reading the novel, I watched a very famous interview of Clarice Lispector on YouTube. I will definitely add the link of that video in the description box below. And in that, I got such a familiar feeling because while I was reading her novel, all the sentiments that she provoked in me as a writer, I felt this more or less the same things in the answers that she was giving. Through that, and also through a lot of quotations of hers that I've read online, I feel that her writing style truly and undoubtedly, reflects her presence. And this is one of the things that makes the book so special, and it also makes it a beautifully intimate and personal book. You'll come across many instances in the story that explain the utter banality of existence, and it's the story in itself is so extraordinary, but at the same time it's so limited because it's that of a single house. It is a house like any other. It has walls, a passage, windows, a bed, a cupboard, a desk. And I feel like the sense that I got while I was reading the book was that these are proofs of existence, these are proofs of life, proofs that there is this person who is participating in her existence using these external objects. It's this external reality that Lispector has soulfully echoed internally with the use of thoughts, with the use of a very conscious and time sensitive and aware way of thinking and narrating, which is made even more explicit and memorable for me personally because of the first person narration. Now, if and when you read this book, whether you read this book spread out across a month, or you read this book in a week or even a day, I can assure you that there is not even a single wasteful moment in the story. It's written so that it can be devoured sentence after sentence. And it's these sentences that explains to the reader the ultimate reality of consciousness. What a person does just out of that sheer awareness of one's consciousness. I feel that in novels like these, time travels in tunnels, through tunnels, through one's thoughts and emotions. And beneath it all is the person's physical presence, is the person's physical reality. And that is what makes us who we are and how we look at the world. And at the same time, that is how the world looks at us. On that note, I would like to end this video with another one of my favorite passages from the book. I was realizing that if I didn't call things salty or sweet, sad or happy or painful, or even in between shades of greater subtlety, that only then would I no longer be transcending and remain in the thing itself. If you're new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to Read a Day Club. You can also connect with us on our Instagram account and subscribe to our monthly newsletter. I will add all the links in the description box below. You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter in which we highlight different in-depth pieces on books and book of the month discussions, and the link is of our website readaday.club. So I guess that's all for now, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you have any book recommendations or any feedback, I would love to read them.